not imagine a better offer here at Activate on Sunday than to activate knowledge around astrology. And we are very honored here at Full Circle to have our guest today. We've talked this week a little bit, and I have to say I'm always excited for Sunday, but this particular Sunday I'm super excited. So it pleasures me deeply to welcome Megan Simring.
Hi, everybody. Hello. I'm Megan Simring, and today I'm going to share with you guys the power of evolutionary astrology, which is this thing that has utterly transformed my life. And if you would have told me 5 years ago that I'd be sitting on a stage talking about astrology, I really would have laughed. I would not have believed you. This was my life 5 years ago. I was 26, the executive director of marketing for one of the biggest baseball agencies in the country, the likes of Albert Pujols, Jimmy Rollins, the biggest names in baseball coming into my office regularly. I had floor-to-ceiling windows on Rodeo Drive. I was living the dream. The only problem was that it was someone else's dream. My dream was to go to the Olympics. I had spent my whole life training for the Olympics in Taekwondo, and I was sidelined by a major back surgery, a spinal fusion, which took me out of the sport. So I did what I thought was the next best thing, and I stayed working in sports. I did what my family thought would make me happy, what the culture said would make me happy, what society said would make me happy, what success looked like. So there I was, successful, staring out of those big, pretty windows, and I would close the blinds, lock my office door, and cry. I felt dark. I felt empty, depressed, gloomy. Just a show of hands, who's ever felt that before? Unfulfilled, heavy, dark, yeah, you guys get it. I don't need to add any more adjectives onto that one. You guys get it. Now, what I know now that I didn't know then is that I was not living in alignment with my sun's solar energetic signature. Famously in astrology, we say as above, so below. The sun above is the center of the solar system. The sun below is the center of our sanity. It is that to which we must be true to feel sane and whole and like we're glad to be alive, like we have a reason to get out of bed in the morning. I didn't feel like I had a reason to get out of bed in the morning. Same thing, we think about the sun in the sky. If it goes out for 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, it's gloomy and rainy and dark. We get a little bit apathetic, lethargic. We don't really feel like doing much. Same thing, if you're not true to that solar sun energetic signature that is your sun sign, your astrological sun sign, you feel gloomy, heavy, depressed, dark. So that's how I felt. I didn't have that information at that time though. And I did not understand why I wasn't happy. In fact, I was pretty miserable. So I got desperate. I literally couldn't get out of bed. My parents flew in town from Missouri, worried about me. My mom literally, just in desperation, went to Brookstone and bought out all of their happy lights. Do you guys know what happy lights are? Okay. They are literally lights that mimic the rays of the sun. They're like sun lamps for people with seasonal affective disorder. I was living in Southern California. Sunny Southern, yeah, yeah. The happy lights did not work, needless to say. So, but it's quite ironic and symbolic that what was actually going on is that I wasn't being true to my solar signature. So I went to Western medicine doctors. I can't sleep. I'm depressed. I have anxiety. Well, their answers were, there's a pill for that. So I became completely dependent on prescription medication. I could not wake up without taking an Adderall. I couldn't go to sleep without taking an Ambien. And that's not to mention all the anti-anxiety medicine in between. Okay? I had no energy that I was generating inside of myself. The whole world was looking at me like this picture of success, this young 20-something, this successful woman. She's so happy. And I let them believe that. From the outside in, I looked happy. From the inside out, I was miserable. The highlight of my day was going home to take my Ambien at night. I was ashamed. I was isolated, and I had a secret that I couldn't tell anybody about. And this went on for years. I lived like that for years. Now this next part is something I've never shared publicly. Maybe 5 people outside of my immediate family know about this. I took a leave of medical absence from my work, and I went to inpatient treatment for chemical dependency for 60 days. That was my darkest moment, but I had to get into my darkness to find my light, to find my sun again. And it was in that moment that a really powerful mentor came into my experience, Dr. Chris. And Dr. Chris would talk to me about magic and synchronicity, and that your thoughts become things, and that your beliefs create your reality. I had been so left-brained up to that point that I wasn't open to any of that. I had no idea, but all I needed was a little bit of magic to open me up. So I was in a session with Dr. Chris one day. She did EMDR, and she was sitting with me, and I was in a really dark moment. And she said, Megan, I see you as Joan of Arc. You're Joan of Arc to me. And at the time, of course, I knew the name Joan of Arc, but I didn't know the whole story. I didn't remember the whole story. So she left, and I literally got down on my knees. I realized there's no way I can go back to that job. I won't make it a day without taking prescriptions again. So I'm on my knees, and I said, okay, if any of this stuff Dr. Chris was talking about is real, if God, if you're real, universe, if there's anything for me to have faith in, give me a sign. Show me something that I can't ignore. So at the time I was reading a book called The 50th Law, and I grabbed the book, scrolled to a random page, took a sticky note, stuck it in there, and I said, if there's anything to believe in, let there be a message on this page for me. So I left. The next day I came back and I remembered, okay, let me check out that page with the sticky note. I opened the book, literally right above the line with where I put the sticky note, it said Joan of Arc. The entire page and the pages following was the story of Joan of Arc. My brain exploded. My left brain exploded. And from that moment on, the synchronicities, the magic in my life was thick. I was lit up. I was excited. I was open. I had energy again. Talk about not being able to get out of bed a month earlier. I jumped out of bed every day. I couldn't wait to see the magic. So there I am in treatment, lit up, versus a month ago in this luxurious, big, beautiful office on Rodeo Drive, crying, can barely even get out of bed. So of course, there's something to follow there. So I followed the universal breadcrumbs to my joy again. I felt lit up the same way I felt when I was training for the Olympics in Taekwondo. So it was from that open place that astrology came into my experience. My sun had started to rise, and just like the sun has gravity, we have our own gravity. And when you're true to that solar energy inside of you, you magnetize into your experience that which will serve your soul's evolution. That's what evolutionary astrology is about. So for me, astrology started coming into my experience, and every time something astrological came in, I lit up. So once I got home, it came across my computer screen and this evolutionary astrology apprenticeship program in Calistoga, California. And at that point, I hadn't really learned a lot about it. I just kind of was looking up reports and stuff about myself online. So I thought, I'm so lit up by this. I knew I had to do it. I booked a flight, didn't tell anyone where I was going. No one will believe it anyway. So I flew to Northern California. I remember the sun had gone down. I rented a car. So there I am driving up the side of a mountain in the dark by myself to meet a bunch of crazy astrologers in Calistoga. I barely believed it myself. Those 4 days were the most powerful 4 days of my life. Changed everything. And it's a journey like I went on during those 4 days that I am intending to take all of you on today. So that when you're met with darkness in your life, you know how to access the light that exists inside of you. No happy lights needed, right? So, does anyone have any questions before I go on to this astrological journey?
Did you get your money back for the happy lights?
No, I didn't. I didn't. My mother still has it. That's a good idea. I wonder if they take returns. Yes.
It's your own birthday.
Of course. So I'm a Scorpio, 8th house Scorpio, and the way that I was living in the agency business, Scorpio energy needs depth and truth and getting beneath the surface and realness. In the sports agency business, I was living a life that was prescribed for me by what the culture said success looks like. There's no depth, there's no connection. It was more an experience of deceit and manipulation, and my son was out. There's no engagement of that scorpionic energy in that arena. So then I started living in alignment with this depth, getting as deep as you can go, and I lit up again. So certainly it had everything to do with it. Yeah, thank you for the question. Yeah. November 2nd, 1985. I'm Scorpio Sun, Pisces rising with Cancer Moon. All water, baby. Yeah. Really? Oh my God. Amazing. We'll have a lot to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Was there one more question?
I'll just connect it with what you said about gravity. Lots of different gravity is bad, but gravity can be good gravity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So beautiful insight.
I don't know if anyone else is feeling this, but I'm a Pisces and like I need a lot of creativity in my life.
Yes.
And I'm working for like an insurance company, but I feel like I have okay balance, and you feel like there's still ways to succeed in this like sort of like motivating career.
Absolutely.
You really might not suit your son.
Absolutely. So we would want to look in your chart at your 10th house and your 6th house, these work-oriented houses, and also where your moon is and your rising sign. So if you connect with me after, we can look in your chart and see what kinds of activities outside of the office, because we're physical beings. We live in a physical reality where we have to provide resources for ourselves. So there is value in connecting to the work that you're doing in terms of providing for yourself financially and choosing activities outside of that that keep your Piscean sun lit up. So we can explore what that looks like. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Susan?
This woman impressed right to the chase, really during the reading, want to know more about yourself and where you're supposed to go. But the reading with Megan, she's amazing.
Yeah. Amazing.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you so much. Amazing. Yeah, so let's give you guys a little taste here. So the type of astrology I practice is evolutionary astrology. And this is different than other types of mainstream Western astrology in a couple of really important ways. One, this is free will, soul-centered astrology, which is to say this is not fatalistic or fortune-telling astrology. I don't even believe in that type of astrology, okay? This is about deepening your level of self-understanding so that you're better equipped to make choices in this lifetime that serve your soul's evolutionary needs. So what have you come into this lifetime to do?